Welcome back to the channel. If you're joining us for the very first time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share all of our content on this channel. Temple Gist brought to you by our studio. Nonto Arinze and Kani Sam joins me. And we're looking at the transfers. Yes, the transfer market is reopened. Did open at the start of June and then closed on the 10th. The first transfer was for the Club World Cup and for players to be signed. Let me just explain it a little for you. Remember that the contract of Trent Alexander-Arnold is supposed to expire on the 30th of June. However, since there was a new transfer window for the Club World Cup, Liverpool then collected 10 million, or should I say Madrid paid 10 million to Liverpool to ensure that they are able to register Trent Alexander-Arnold so that he can play for them at the Club World Cup days before the expiration of his Liverpool contract. He's there and he's played for them, but the official summer transfer market is now fully open and clubs can now sign players for the new season. Leroy Sané, who is at the Club World Cup with Bayern Munich, will leave after the group stage matches and will then officially become a Galatasaray player after he was unveiled by the Turkish club. But one Galatasaray former player who is expected to return to Napoli is still clubless as we continue transfer saga involving former African Footballer of the Year and one of the most sought out striker, Victor Osimhen. Not forgetting there's another player in a certain Victor Gyökeres who has still not gotten suitors yet. We understand Manchester United is turned down the club and Arsenal are in the conversation. Benjamin Sesko is also in the conversation, but Liverpool are very close to confirming and sealing the transfer of Florian Wirtz from Bayern Leverkusen. Kani Sam at the Bishop. It's a crazy transfer market.
Yep.
Plenty money is not flying around.
No, because it's just opening now. It's just opening.
Mm-hmm. City have done their own business.
Yeah,
and they look like they have closed up shop.
Maybe not.
But for the teams that have not done business, particularly our darling Arsenal.
I know you're coming there.
Our darling, no, because also I want you to be happy this year.
Okay.
I really want you to be
because
happy.
I was sad before.
See, your happiness matters to us.
It's your joy.
It matters to us.
It's our joy.
It's our joy. Because I cannot.
Because you're going to be more productive. You're going to be more productive in the studio.
I've known you for a lot of years now.
Almost 10 years.
I've not been able to tell you congratulations on winning the Premier League.
It's coming.
Nonto, you've not been able to tweet.
Oh, finally we're here.
Tweet that we are champions. Come on, when are you going to do that?
Don't worry. Like I said, it's going to happen. Like I said, the window is open. Arsenal is in the market.
Market for what?
Zubimendi will come in, and then a striker. We're hearing Gyökeres. Reports coming from Gyökeres, like I did tell you, is the fact that the boy has told the club he's not going to have any sit down with them. He doesn't want to talk to them. He's going to go on strike to show that he said he has a gentleman agreement. The club is saying, no, you don't have no gentleman agreement. So he said he's not going to have any talk with them anymore. Okay, he's going to go on strike.
I want to also mention gentleman. Is there a word as a gentleman agreement? Because, Victor Osimhen came up with the same conversation.
Yeah.
When it was at Napoli. And he said he had a gentleman agreement where his agent, of course, allegedly, the club management were seated, and there was an agreement that he will go when an offer comes and they meet the valuation. That didn't happen. Should players
not
be
written, not binding?
Exactly.
Gentleman agreement is ineffective.
It is called a gentleman agreement for a reason.
It doesn't amount to anything.
It's not binding.
Why should a professional
No.
So you cannot trust. Are you saying that your word cannot be trustworthy?
That's it. Because they expect people to be men of honor. But come on, honor is far from people. That's the truth. Honor is not easy.
Men like Daniel
Honor is far from
Levy.
people.
You want to have a gentleman agreement.
Daniel Levy.
See, here is it, right? Just looking at the whole thing. Arsenal signing, not signing. Their biggest issue, striker.
Yeah.
We all agreed. But guess what? All the striker I've seen Arsenal going for, they are developing striker. They know strikers that are topping their league. They know striker. The Sesko that you're talking about has never topped the Bundesliga. Last season we were talking about just 12 goals. Between him and Kai Havertz that we're talking about that played
three goals.
Just 3 goals, yes. Right? Now you are buying, and you're just 22 years old, and you're talking about 90-something million pounds. You're buying a developed player for that amount of money. We actually hit out on Chelsea for that reason. So why are you doing that? And because you're buying for the future. Do Arteta have time for the future again? Arteta does not have time for the future. Arteta have time for now. Everybody's saying you must win now. The goal that you're talking about, right?
Remember,
how old is he? How old is he
in England?
How old is he?
27.
27 years. How many goals did he score last season?
He scored, I think, over for something goals.
For something, that is the guy that give you a semblance of what you need. But guess what? I feel Arsenal energy is more on Sesko.
That is, I agree with you.
Arsenal energy is more Sesko. And with
Because he's
Sesko,
younger.
what you have is a developing player.
Yeah.
So it just makes me feel like, well, these guys are not serious. So they just almost the same thing. Rick Marolin, not trying to do this and do this early enough. Man, you know, one of the biggest problem is striker. Before you know, Cunha is there. And I expected, if anything, Arsenal was 3 years enough. By mid-season, Arsenal should have gone for Cunha. They would have. I mean, that same clause. Believe me.
The problem is Cunha an out-and-out striker?
Even if he is
not,
not, he's an upgrade of practically everybody you have in Arsenal.
Sokoto with my back. But the truth remains, guys. Let's be realistic. Arsenal need a prolific striker in the mode.
So who's that guy you're talking about?
Like Victor Osimhen.
Simple. Now that's the only guy out there. But Victor, in all his conversation, Arsenal has never been mentioned with Victor.
That's the funny part.
I've seen
Liverpool mentioned. I've seen Man United mentioned. I've seen Chelsea mentioned.
You understand?
But there is no time that Arsenal.
I've seen legend of all this club that you've mentioned.
A striker in this mode.
See, I've seen the legend of all this club. If you check the last episode of Ferdinand React, he said it clearly. You're looking for a striker. Osimhen is there. You've seen other former Manchester United players say the same thing. You've seen former Chelsea players say the same thing. But with Arsenal, you've not seen anybody mention Victor.
Maybe Thierry Henry is not interested.
You understand? And you're talking about guys that you're so sure that these guys have struggled already. They've struggled with, where they are. You don't expect them.
You see, I don't know what with Arsenal is this.
Arsenal and the funny thing is this, right? You're taking longer than necessary.
Longer process, exactly.
In few weeks time, this thing will reconvene. If anything, this guy should be on ground so that he's part of the guys.
Understand?
So that he will start the season with them.
So you will have a synergy, a cohesion, a bromance. Form something that like we see with Saka and Odegaard, something like that. Maybe say, okay, his partnership is with Saka or is with Odegaard. You buy him maybe 2 days to the start of the season and you throw him in the limelight and expect him to score 40 goals. He said, no. I think by that, Arsenal should have by now, before the end of last season, because that was the problem. Arsenal lost the Champions League due to lack of striker.
Sincerely speaking, by
the end of last season, they should have got a striker.
They would have
settled that issue.
Should Arsenal have taken the bait on Liam Delap? It was a cheap offer.
No, that's
I'm not saying as a top 9, but put him there and then find
how many shameless 9s would you have?
You
have Gabriel Jesus. You have Kai Havertz. You want to add the Diab to it?
Because for 30 million, it was a cheap buy.
And that's why it's a cheap player.
The easiest thing is this, right? But it's better than Kai
Havertz.
We can talk about this. No.
No way.
As a number 9, not as a footballer.
No way. Anyway.
No way. Kai Havertz didn't play as much as he
will always play, yes.
They have almost the same number of goals.
Yeah. 12 and 9.
Yeah, 12 and 9. Yeah. Almost the same number. Not this, given the number of matches that Dilap played. Come on, you cannot pick. Yeah. You can, of course, it happens.
If it's close, if Prince Kaka hit 20 goals, I would say, okay, it's good. If he comes to Arsenal, he score 30, but no, not him. I think Arsenal is a striker. Like I said, I would prefer to go Goycrest, but I don't know why the body language is like, he has come out, he said, I don't want Man United because they were dating him to call Robin. He wants Arsenal.
Because he wants to play
European. But Arsenal don't want to meet the valuation of the club. The club is now holding out for a huge amount of money. He said he's got an agreement of £57 million. The club is saying, no, what we agree was that we're not going to collect the whole release clause. We will collect something, but not up to the release clause. And now he says he doesn't want to have a discussion with the club. That if he now we hear report we're getting from Portugal that he wants to resort to strike. Is it the man Arsenal need? I still don't think so. Victor Osimhen is in the market. Close your eyes. Count 1 to 10. Take whatever risk it is. Look. If he gets Victor Osimhen, he gives the likes of Bukayo Saka a breather. Because he leaves out Kai Havertz a breeder. They begin to play their game. If let's assume now Kai Havertz scores 18 goals or 15 goals. Saka scores 15 goals or 10 goals. Let's be realistic. If he scores 20, Arsenal wins the league.
Yeah.
If Victor Osimhen scores 20 goals, they will go on to win the league on Kanisa. Do you agree?
Of course, I mean, getting Osimhen is a no-brainer. So if you ask me, come on, that's one guy. I see what
I'm surprised that
it shouldn't be a no-brainer. The truth is, how many guys have Victor Osimhen out there right now in the market? For the past 2 seasons, no striker. He has proven himself now, my brother. What do you want again? Me, I don't want to talk about anything else. I'm talking about his performance.
Solve that problem. You understand?
If you need a striker, look. If everybody, ex-players, people are calling for him in their clubs. If the Saudi league offered him something million pounds and so many other things, right? Then Victor is the guy. Now we know that sincerely speaking, Arsenal don't have the capacity to get.
Absolutely,
they have the capacity to get Victor. But you ask yourself why? Because one of the healthiest club, they call Arsenal the most profitable club in the Premier League.
Yes.
So one of the healthiest club in the Premier League right now.
They're healthy. Use your healthy money.
Giving a Sesko
that amount of money,
£92 million. Believe me, give it to Victor Osimhen.
It's even cheaper.
And you
It's cheaper.
You cannot buy Victor Osimhen from. He's proven already.
And even apart from that,
young man.
He's even proven. He understands the terrain, what it means to play in European football.
But it's not like a home to him. Not even Nigerians are there.
Oh yes, all this do is stay and take the supply.
Simple. When Alan was coming, what does Alan do?
Alan likes to fight for the ball. Alan likes to. Now he knows how to stay and wait for the ball. Osimhen will learn how to stay and receive services from Saka and Odegaard, and he's causing goal. It's simple. He will learn these things.
Sesko,
simple coaching.
Osimhen is mileage, thousands of mileage ahead of them.
Yeah, it's an insult to call him. It's a gap. It's a gulf.
It's a gulf. You know what I mean? It's
a gulf.
I don't know. I'm stunned.
But they are not going for that. Most fortunate thing. They have the money. They have everything. How come they're looking at it? See, I expected Arsenal by now.
But now to have ended
they should have signed a pre-contract
exactly.
with a particular striker.
Somebody say break.
You know your problem last season. 2 seasons ago, you know your problem.
The same problem.
You're not scoring goals. You're not
Isak.
Isak is a guy that can give 20 goals. Yes. But the truth is this. Everybody knows that Isak is not living. I mean,
Newcastle will not sell because they have a tight budget.
I mean, you understand. If they're selling him, then they're going to milk out because they're going to get 2 of his type into that team.
Exactly.
Well, for Victor Osimhen, please come and hear to the crowd. No, so Arinze. Join Arsenal. So that they can finally tweet
and win the league.
Do you know the funny thing?
We are champions.
Yes. I love the fact that he's the hottest talking point in football for the past 2 seasons.
Yeah,
no, he has been
for the past 2 seasons, and he's enjoying this moment. And I love that I love the fact that he has actually comported himself in a way that he's not always talking.
Yes, he allows you to. He allows you to.
He allows you to keep going.
Keep the remorse keep going.
He's enjoying.
And the more the remorse is going, the more his price tag keeps soaring.
Let's go to Liverpool quickly. Liverpool are going crazy in the market.
Yeah.
Trying to smash
the
British transfer record. I do have my reservation.
I do too.
Vitz is 22. He's quite young.
Now,
unproven.
He's played about 6 seasons in the Bundesliga. And in fact, he's only in just one season rather, that he's not been able to hit double digits for goals and assists. Every other season he's been able to achieve that. He's proven as another attacking midfielder, can be that number 10 they need. And let Salah play better on the flank and focus and probably even do more than coming to the middle. But for 100 million and possibly 116 plus add-ons, that's a huge amount of money.
It is.
I don't know what Liverpool is seeing in Wirtz that want to make them
with all this thing.
What is crazy, man?
With all this, let me even tell you a simple truth, right? It gives me the vibes and the feels of the guy that Chelsea bought and he couldn't name Timo Werner.
Yeah.
He give me that vibe. I'm being factual here. He gives me that vibe.
You understand?
He was scoring goals. He was scoring 20 goals. Wirtz is not scoring 20 goals, I think. I don't think he's scoring 20 goals in this team. I'm talking about scoring. I'm not talking about assists.
20-something.
Wirtz is a midfielder, an attacking midfielder, not a striker.
I understand that. Come on.
Same vibes.
I understand that, right? But even with that, we've actually seen this thing play out several times. I mean, even with Arsenal, with the amount of money Arsenal paid for that midfielder called what was his name? Rice. You can't tell me that I have gotten the word of their money.
It's got 2 free kicks.
And so what about that?
They've gotten half of that one.
I mean, just like the way Arsenal used to go hard on guys like, I say Arsenal, I mean, Pundit, football, those that talk about football, just like the way they used to go hard on Enzo Fernandez and on Caicedo because of the amount of money.
The price tag.
Same goes to what was his name? So Jack Grealish and so if you check out this guy that the club have actually put out so much to get,
absolutely
failed most of the times.
Those who are inflated, not too much. Those who are inflated.
You can't call it inflated, but this thing happened by not even market at all. Say current form
one, and how desperate you are, and that's why
Liverpool is not desperate because I mean, if you're saying you're going to win the Champions,
Wirtz is more desperate to come than Liverpool.
No, and for a team that said they are not contending for the championship this year, I mean, not even next year because it's 2028. So for a team that is saying, look, we are comfortable not winning anything until 2028, why put it out that kind of money?
No, that's Man United.
That's Liverpool saying
no, that's Liverpool.
Not Liverpool. I understand that, but even for a team that just won the championship and for a team that they know it's going to be difficult for them to win the championship. Though, I mean, City have actually scattered that record again. They can do that over and over and over. Putting that kind of money, it's much. I understand you're letting go so many guys, but how much are you going to realize from selling of these guys? You're letting go probably, what was his name? The Uruguayan and striker.
Nunes.
Nunes is going.
Chiesa may likely leave as well.
Of course, Chiesa should leave. But probably Diogo too.
Diogo
too.
Maybe Gakpo.
No, I doubt Gakpo is going to
cannot
be
go
leaving.
nowhere. He looks like
Why?
a player who's
The reasons are simple. Come on, he's Dutch and he scored his Dutch. I mean, for that alone, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see. I mean,
and they brought in one
this
more
like
Frimpong.
you understand? So putting that kind of money out for a midfielder, for me, is outrageous.
It's sick.
It is.
When I first had the figure, I got sick to my stomach. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
What's football turning out to?
What is football? What has Florian Wirtz played to what over 100? When I saw it,
What did Jack Grealish play?
how many? That's the problem. I agree that
is what we're now saying. Now look at Greg.
Not even
Greg. Where he is now.
Not even him. We even talk about even Rice.
Rice. Okay, Rice.
Even Rice.
Rice said the last two fall Yakata
still average compared to the amount of money they put on him.
Really fall from grass to grace is astronomical. It's a free fall from the heavens. And that's what I'm scared for Florian Wirtz. A player who's got a future in Germany, who could have stayed back in Bayern Munich and win cult hero status, decided to take a leap of faith and move to Liverpool.
They had to wrap that deal,
and then
right?
they had to wrap that.
And if they wrap that deal for such amount of money, for such
the pressure,
astronomical amount,
the pressure will
bro,
be so
for
good.
anytime he touch the ball, he touch the ball well.
Yes,
the press I know this one well. For a player with such amount of money,
breaking the British record,
the
press will be on his neck.
And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And I wouldn't want to be in situation, right?
Can he manage it?
See,
does he have the mental capacity to do so?
The press will even work to his downfall.
Yes.
They'll put so much pressure on him.
Because it's not even English.
See, do you know the funniest thing? That even if he's getting it right, the way they magnify some of those other mistakes, right?
Because it's not English.
It will overshadow
or breaking the record
or
a record set by Greg Grealish and the rest of them, no.
Come on, it's going to be crazy. No, not at all for me. Not at all.
Well, let's end it at Manchester United. The transfer budget for them, they've gotten Cunha.
Yeah, so that.
Well, if you're Amorim now, what will you be looking in the market? Because truthfully,
I think about those 100 million.
I look at United's squad,
yeah,
you know, and I'm struggling to pick out 5 great players or good players.
Wow. So if you're, is that bad?
I think it is.
From the goalkeeping department.
I 5 good players at United. Okay.
I think it's a prospect.
It's a prospect, yeah.
Not a star yet.
Exactly. So how long do you
injury makes him over? I think.
Yes,
injury makes him.
It is good to have him, but if you're going
even without the injury, it wasn't out of the world like Van Dijk.
It gives the vibe. It gives the feel and the vibe of
Saliba.
Yes.
If Martinez can stay fit, you can probably say you can add it.
Yeah, the 2 of them.
But you cannot have 2 centre backs who cannot guarantee you playing 13 games on the stretch together. I'm not even saying 20 games.
I quite agree.
Just play 13
quite
on
agree
the
with
stretch
you.
together.
Yeah.
And let's have it.
Yeah.
So what does he do in the transfer market? Mazraoui did do well in the opening 10-15 games of when he came
and then he faded out.
Yeah.
The problem with Manchester United is so much such that right, what they have in their disposal right now. And guess what? Like I said, I mean, watching Kieran Maguire earlier within the week, I saw him saying something like that. The ability of almost 400 million to pay off for previous purchases. That's installment payment for other players. So that automatically limits the amount of money they can spend on transfers. Now they only have 100 million pounds, right? If you want a decent striker, you need to spend more than that. If you have a decent strike, if you want a decent team, you need to spend more than that amount with the Manchester United team. But the good thing,
how bad? Where they're
going to have a breeder is this, right? They're going to let go so many other guys, and their wage bill is going to go down because do you know that we're letting go with Sancho's on loan, Rashford on loan, and Antonio on loan? Do you know that wage bill dropped drastically, almost £700,000 a week?
Yes.
So imagine letting these guys go. The good thing is, the funny thing is, for a guy like Anthony, that is it. And these guys are not willing to move just like
exactly. Not willing to
move. Not even Anthony, even the Rashford, even Sancho.
How are willing to pay them?
No, nobody wants to pay Sancho's 300,000.
Nobody. That's a problem. Stumbling block.
Napoli want him,
but they can't pay that money.
They don't have the money.
They don't have the money. Napoli can meet the valuation of his
contract, but cannot pay his wages.
Yeah. And Sancho is saying that he will continue to receive his wages even if he leaves Manchester United.
Yes.
Because the club is now forcing him to accept
to leave
the offer of Napoli.
Yes.
So it's crazy. So what of course, Cunha has come.
They're enemies.
Cunha has come.
They're enemies.
Yeah, United are in the market for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Emiliano Martinez has been mentioned. You know, after
Aston Villa. That will cost them 50 million. How much we're hearing from Aston Villa? Emiliano Martinez. So that's half of the money they've even got to spend. So, they need money. They need players to leave. They need as quickly as now.
And if there's one thing, as crazy as Arsenal is, as we've actually spoken about Arsenal need a striker, but I think Manchester United need a striker more than Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because Cunha is not enough.
Or it's not than Zexi.
No.
Completely.
Rashford is more. He should be dancing below belly dancing. All these dance. It's more of a dancer. Rashford. Nobody dance. Yeah. And then Zexi is not partying. He could be a musician for all I care.
I enjoy the party.
Yeah,
the pictures from Zexi's party and
wow.
all of that.
But come on, those guys are no strikers. And when they got in Zexi, I was one of those who came here and said, I do not believe that this guy is a striker. You want a striker, you're buying Zexi. He's more like a supporting cast. You know,
that was the biggest,
a supporting cast. That's the best one.
Because for me, my position is this.
He scored on the first day. My fans went crazy.
My position is this, right?
Here.
ETH is still better than what Man United have right now.
Okay.
But his biggest issue was the kind of purchases he made.
I think it's his purchases that
Eric Ten Hag,
his purchases that actually mess him up. Yeah,
I agree with you.
It's better than they have.
I think he would have made better use of the players at the moment than what Ruben has done.
Players stupidly and recklessly. Anthony does not know that amount of money.
To tomorrow.
But this guy was ready to come for Arsenal. I mean, this guy was ready to come to Arsenal for an amount that is not up to what he bought him for. I'm talking about the Argentine defender, the short guy. Martinez was, yeah. Then you're paying almost 100 million. And then you're now brought in Zexi that you don't need him from get-go.
You don't need him.
Euro to some extent, I understand.
Euro
I understand.
But Zexi, you do need Zexi.
For what? So I think
you already have an average striker. You don't need
his purchases, right? His purchases mess him up.
Very bad, yeah, very bad.
And I doubt if they were not the guy that he said he wants. Because if they were the guy that he said he wants, after
because there was a revelation,
he would have been shouting.
Week that ETH said that he did not sanction the move for Anthony.
He said
United pay 60 million more than they should
pay for Anthony. He said so.
Fact.
And he wanted Anthony that the club should not go for Anthony and wait for the summer, but the club insisted they wanted Anthony and they brought him to the club. And Anthony is a difficult man to offload for them. Before I go, there's this thing about Moses Simon from Paris for Nantes to Paris FC. I know Akani said all the Nigerian players on that transfer. But how do you go? I don't know. But Nantes to a newly promoted club. Simon has been a loyal servant,
consistent servant to the Yellow Canaries. He's been a first team name. How can you be a first team player, a first name in the squad, in the lineup?
The biggest.
In the team.
And he's not him, actually.
He's got almost 40-50%.
But to go down to Paris FC,
the newly promoted side.
It's not a free fall from the heaven. It's like the heaven stoned him down to earth. Is that bad?
No, so Paris could come good.
How?
Overnight?
They're a new side coming.
First time ever. Him aside. After a long time in the
him aside, who else would they have?
Who would they have?
They'll have other players they can sign.
You want him to play in second division of the French league next season?
Moses Simon at this
point. He'll have gone to Turkey.
Or
go to Saudi Arabia. Or maybe go to MLS. But not Paris FC.
On Dream Platform, I used to have my observation about him and certain things about playing for a team that has been below a mid-table team for years says something about your quality. It says a lot about your quality.
And it's comfortable there.
That is the issue.
Very comfortable. Time, right? Always making.
But you see people just find
winning their player of the season.
Yes, winning the player of the season. So how can a team that is below a mid-table team, because they're below a mid-table
just
team,
average,
right? How can they be selling their base player to a team that is just coming up,
money?
So money, and he just go to Saudi Arabia. Probably
Saudi Arabia. I
saw Montiel in Pachua. Pachuca.
Montiel.
Probably he just go and join Montiel there in Pachuca in Mexico. You understand? And become. Well, I was surprised seeing Montiel there. When did he move from Sevilla?
I'm not surprised seeing Acuna playing in River Plate. See.
Ramos was in
Montreal.
Yeah, Ramos was
even older herself.
He's justified.
We saw Messi in the MLS. Why can't someone take the leap of faith?
And not that the pay. I don't know.
It's not going to be better. It's not.
The Paris will pay better than Nantes, obviously.
At
what percentage? No, so you expect a player to move from Nantes and go to Paris.
We agree. And to what percentage?
And whatever percent, it's still an upgrade.
Come on, man.
Good luck to him.
Your vice captain of the Super Eagles.
You never can tell. One of the
vice captain of the Super Eagles.
Wilfred did not live in England then. He wanted to have citizenship of.
But we talked about the fact that the reporter he said he said he wasn't going to sign for a team in the French league. He wanted a new release of life. What a new challenger. So the new challenge is Paris FC. I laugh in Swahili.
We'll get there. Well, Temple Gist are brought to you by Alza Studios. Remember to follow us on all social media handle. But before we go, Onkadi Sam.
Yeah.
I want to ask this very simple question. This is not a quiz. This is not a quiz. Before I put you on the two of you on the hot seat, I put you on the hot seat. Now, there was this small conversation of Victor Boniface that Alonso wants him if he will play second fiddle in Real Madrid. If you be Boniface right now,
I'll go now because the pay is going to be better, and I'm going to be more visible in Europe.
The conversation is just.
I wouldn't think twice. And I've seen him saying something in a different player that he never fancied the English league.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has said something like that. If I were him, I would go. If truly they come for me, I will go, because definitely they are going to fight him more than what he's taking right now.
Yes,
that alone is enough. Then he's going to be more visible, and you never can tell.
He could even be the man who will help them win the Champions League again.
You never can tell, and he's going to be more visible. He'll be projected more.
Which Champions League? He couldn't help.
No, they can't.
Alonso is a man with a plan.
They can't.
If he brought Victor Boniface,
let's forget about that. If I were him,
I'll
right,
move.
I'll go. If
I won't even look
see,
back.
for obvious reasons, I'm growing older, right? The pay is going to be better. One,
But
then
if he's not
number two,
getting
there's going to
older.
be more visibility.
Where's not
Do
getting
you know what
older?
it means to play for the Los Blancos, or what do you
The
call them?
Galacticos.
The Galacticos.
The Galacticos.
Well, if it
sorry.
happens, it will become, if my memory serves me right, become the first ever.
Nigerian.
If it happens, it
Yeah.
will become the first ever Nigerian to play at Real Madrid. I hope that deal goes through. I didn't see that news. I first saw it a couple of days ago. Then the record a few nights ago, and I also saw it. Boniface to Real Madrid. Should it be something that we want to see?
Yes,
Maybe
absolutely.
it will also help, of course, Boniface as a player and help
I hope
the
image of Nigeria in
of the
Spain.
Super Eagles.
But I saw him tweeting. I don't know if he was joking that his time is over in the Super Eagles. I think so.
Well,
Some
he did
weeks
tweet
back.
and deleted the tweet.
Out
Out of frustration,
game, he played,
the backlash from France.
and it was a backlash, of course, for Boniface. But
He doesn't
he's a cool master.
loves attracting attention to himself.
Yeah,
I think that's how he cruise.
he's a content creator.
Yeah.
Temple Gist brought to you by Alza Studios.